room and
Yeah,
around
he's getting
doing
us
stuff.
out, he's getting us, just running around, doing activities.
How many of the students had ever golfed before?
None of them. It was everybody's first time.
Yeah.
How many people beat Mr. Leong in cornhole?
In cornhole? Quite a few.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Leon was pretty good, but I've beaten him a couple times.
Alright.
Good.
So when you said attendance was 10%, 13%, so it went up 10% 2 weeks ago and then 13% the week after? That's great. That's awesome.
Way better than last year. Last year was
I know.
kind of bad.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
That is cool.
Alright. Nisha,
Okay.
let's hear it.
To recap September, we had our various homecoming events, our 9/11 ceremony, Thunderball, and class of 2026 had a fundraiser. Our homecoming princesses were our exchange students, Sandra and Regina, and then Jasmine Gallegos, Gracelyn Krause, Lyric Mohan, Madison Walker, and our queen was Kennedy Metters. Friends of BBHS hosted the annual 9/11 ceremony and Thunderball. Both events were just a few weeks ago, and our winners for Thunderball were the sophomore and senior teams. October is looking pretty quiet. Otherwise for student activities, Avid is running a college and career week right now. With their college and career day was today. We had 3 guest speakers from our community that participated in a panel. Following the assembly, students had the opportunity to connect with individuals from a variety of colleges and careers in our area. They had around 45 tables to look at. Students will be off for fall break for the next 2 weeks. On October 28th, Undead Poets Society is hosting an open mic night. We'll wrap up the month off with our annual award ceremony on October 31st. For fall sports, tennis
On the 31st?
That's messed up.
For fall sports, tennis is 3-2. They've had a lot of cancellations due to weather, but they're looking forward for the rest of their season. Both cross-country teams are going to state after winning league. For girls golf, it's going well. They are undefeated in their league, and after fall break is their league finals. Our volleyball season has been going really well so far. They are currently tied in 3rd place, which shows the progress they've been making as a team. Their skills and overall style of play has grown a lot since the start of the season. The team has been working hard, and improvement is showing on the court. They're excited to keep pushing forward and finishing off strong. For football, JV football is 4-1. Varsity is 4-2 and 1-1 in the Mississippi League. Parent Appreciation Night will be the last regular season game on Friday, October 24th. The following Sunday, October 26th, they will participate in the Doves annual Walk in a Mile in Her Shoes event, bringing awareness to taking a stand against domestic violence.
Joshua, looked like you forgot something. You want to say it?
No, I thought I messed up, but I heard it properly.
Are you guys ready for break?
Cool, yes.
All right. If you guys want to head out, you can. Or you
I
can
got
stay.
wrestling here. I gotta go.
Oh, no kidding. Go! Right on. Yeah, don't forget that, Joshua.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joshua. Thanks, Nisha.
All right. Next item, presentation from All Children Thrive Youth Team Presentation.
I would give an introduction, but I don't think they'd rather hear
No,
them
I
speak.
think-
We'd rather hear some speak. We're excited to have them.
We've got half the homecoming court.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. My name is Angelica Rodriguez. I'm the Peer and Family Advocate at the Mom and Dad Project. And first of all, I would like to thank all of you for allowing us to be here to present about our project. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the Mom and Dad Project. We've been serving the Valley since 2001. We are the first family resource center here. We've been serving, we are the first resource center that serves mothers, partners, and now we are serving the whole family.
Could you take one step back?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll just talk from here for this part.
That's too far.
Okay.
Just so we can see the slide.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So yeah, one of our missions is reducing ACEs. And by the way we do that is we strengthen families and build protective factors and prevent cycles of trauma. We are we are a trusted family resource center here in the Valley. Our goal is to connect families to healthcare, food, housing, and as well as mental health resources and mental support. Oh, and parent support, sorry. Okay, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about ACT. So we all joined the All Children Thrive initiative to empower youth to advocate, influence policy, and ensure their voices are being heard. Youth Voice, Youth Voice is a powerful tool for preventing ACEs as well. Freddie will be talking a little bit more about that, what it means, but when young people feel a sense of leadership, belonging, civic engagement, they thrive, and that helps building a strong community, and where it's not only mainly about tourism. Our amazing director, Megan Metters, applied for this grant back in 2022. We were one of the 13 projects that were accepted statewide, so that's a pretty big deal to us. We opened applications to Big Bear high school students. We received 10 applications, and we ended up staying with 7 students. And now we have 6 high school seniors entering their 3rd year in the project, and tonight they will be introducing themselves and the work that we've been doing so far.
My name is Eric Zukuri.
And my name is Isaac DeHaan.
My name is Kennedy Metters.
And my name is Max Walker, and we also have 2 other members, Ezekiel and Brenda, but they couldn't hear tonight.
We're all seniors at Big Bear High School.
So a little bit more about ACT. So ACT, again, is All Children Thrive. It is a community-led initiative in order to respond to ACEs. So ACEs is your adverse childhood experiences, and there are traumatic events that happen in your life up to the age of 18, which include part of being abused, emotional, and physical neglect. It also housed into housing challenges growing up. So there's 10 questionnaires. You guys all have a copy in there, so if you would like, you can kind of take that for yourself. What that means that research has shown that the more ACEs score you have, that you are more likely to have a higher risk factors for chronic health issues, including with cardiac, cancer, or diabetes, mental health issues, substance usage, and difficulty in the work or in school if you're still in that process. And so again, you guys have an information sheet, and there's also a fact sheet that you guys also have if you want more information about it. But why does that matter for us? So we created a needs assessment in the community, which you guys have a copy. We had 540 applicants actually respond to our needs assessment in the community, and nearly half of them reported ACE scores in parental separation, domestic conflict, and household instability. More than 1/3 of the people in our survey also said that ACEs still affects them today, and more than half still have some sort of trauma based on what happened to them from the ages 0 to 18. And so what ACT does is, in partnership with UCLA Center for Health in Children, Families, and Communities, as well as public health advocates, they help train a lot of community who are part of this project in coaching, advocacy, getting data, creating needs assessment, and empowering our youth to be the voice in that aspect, to bring awareness to a lot of people, and then how do we create that change within our community. And so again, our ACT is ordered to provide a solution that will hopefully last a long time and not just a bandage to similar problems, and the youth will kind of present a little bit more on what they've been doing over the past 2.5 years.
All right, guys, look at Megan real quick.
Yeah, just nervous factors.
Is anyone can ask questions now, or should we save them for the end?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to.
Yes, they have a lot of information to get through if we don't mind.
Okay, sure.
Hit it.
Alright.
Next slide. Yep.
Alright, so what we've done so far. So far we've been holding monthly meetings with both our local ACT youth team and also meetings with state representatives from ACTs. And in these meetings, we learned how government works and how decisions are made, how policies are created, and things like that. We've also been meeting with the city of Big Bear Lake. We met with the city manager, Eric Sun. We're going to be meeting with him again later. But we've had the opportunity to learn how our local government works specifically, some of the more nuances, and why it matters that youth perspective is included at our community. We also took a trip up to Sacramento, which Aiden will be talking about later in the presentation, but we had the opportunity to meet our state senator, Rosalisi Ochoa Boa, and have a conversation with her and her goals and what she thinks is important and about our project. So, but in everything we've been doing, we've really been focusing on making sure that the youth voice is heard in the community. And we've learned that our voices really can have an impact and influence decisions. We also conducted a community needs assessment, which you should all have a copy of. It's the piece with the spiral on it. And I'd like to call attention to the number of responses that we had from high school and middle school students. Of the 540 responses, 230 were from students in the high school and middle school. And what we found is that youth in Big Bear are experiencing some real issues, including stress about mental health, limited safe spaces and activities, and concerns about future opportunities in the city. About 1 in 3 youth reported prolonged sadness or hopelessness lasting 2 weeks or more in the past year, and over 75 experienced stress in the past month, with a small but significant 13% experiencing near constant stress. And while 68% know where to get help, 1 in 5 youth do not know where to turn for mental health support.
One of the most impactful experiences this year was when 6 of us, all high school juniors from Big Bear, and 6 adult leaders, traveled to Sacramento for nonprofit advocacy. We spent a week meeting with legislators and learning how youth advocacy can influence policy on a big scale. We learned how other cities have created youth policy councils, which give young people a formal seat at the table with their city leaders. What stood out to us was seeing that in other cities, youth aren't just being heard, they're actually helping shape policies about parks, housing, mental health, and programs that directly affect them. And this inspired us to think about Big Bear. If other communities can give youth a seat at a table, why not us? We believe Big Bear could benefit from the same kind of structure, a way for young people to regularly share ideas, highlight challenges, and be part of solutions alongside our city leaders. Our Sacramento trip made one thing clear: youth voices matter, and when we are included, it creates stronger policies and a stronger future for our city.
So our policy focus and why our project matters. For Big Bear, our project matters because kids in rural areas have higher ACE scores than kids in urban areas, which means long-lasting side effects, not only on our society, but also our economy. With $14 trillion estimated to be spent on ACE-related health problems each year. We need to invest in our youth because other cities that invested in their youth early on show 7 to 13% annual return in education, improved health, and reduced justice system involvement. Our policy focus is making youth voices a part of decision-making, highlighting the real needs of local youth, advocating for city investment factors, and promoting equity. This project matters because it turns our voices into action and helps build a future for kids to grow up safe, supported, and ready to thrive. This year, through ACT, we learned that there's no specific city funds set aside for local youth. Without this, it is difficult to create stable, year-round thriving communities. We also learned that Big Bear really struggles to attract and keep young talent. 50% of young people say they would stay in their hometown if there were opportunities, but 42% end up leaving due to lack of jobs. We also learned that rural youth face far greater barriers. We lack access to after-school programs and mental health support. With federal cuts hitting these areas the hardest, rural areas like us need this support more than ever. Through our local needs assessment that we did, we learned that while most students attend daily, absenteeism is directly tied to mental health, fatigue, and lack of motivation. We learned that 70% of BBHS and BBMS students struggle staying focused in class. And we learned that about 1 in 5 students stated they lack access to tutoring, safe study spaces, and needed academic support. We learned that only 47% of students feel comfortable asking their teachers for help.
What percentage again, sorry?
47%.
You really need to learn how to project.
Alright, what's next for our ACT team? As you guys can see, ACEs make our work urgent. Adverse childhood experiences depend on their families, environment, and many other factors. The community needs assessment reports align with these findings, reinforcing concerns about mental health, absenteeism, and limited emotional support in school. ACEs don't just affect childhood either. People with high ACE scores live on average 20 years less than those with none. ACEs carry into our work at the state level. We're proud to say that 3 of our Big Bear ACT team members are now part of an ACT-wide, statewide initiative. At that level, we're working to shape strategies around housing, mental health, and safe environments, all of which directly affect ACE scores. Just because we're working at the state level does not mean our mission in Big Bear here is done. We're still committed to the fight against adverse childhood experiences. We want to build a Big Bear where youth and families thrive, as well as a tourism economy. Because ACEs are preventable, and we believe that Big Bear can take real steps to prevent them, we're asking you, the Big Bear Valley Unified School Board, to support us. You can continue to welcome youth input at board meetings and help us advocate for resources dedicated to youth, such as safe and inclusive spaces for youth beyond just sports. And you can support the creation of a youth council so we can actively be a part of decision making. Here's the bottom line. ACT has given us the tools and confidence to lead. With Big Bear youth engaged and committed to the future by helping to prevent ACEs, we want to make sure every child, every family, and every youth has an opportunity to thrive right here in Big Bear. Thank you for your time and attention to our project.
So you guys are graduating in 7 months-ish.
Maybe.
Not the Metters kids. But then what? You guys are gone. I mean, maybe some of the state level work. Who's next? What are you gonna
Where's
do
the baton go now?
Yeah, who's your bench?
So this was a 3-year project. It will end when these guys graduate. We actually were informed last week that we have the potential for another 3-year project. We will know in December. If that happens, then we will start holding meetings back up at the high school again. Hopefully, we're looking for a teacher champion up at the high school. And we would take on additional youth at that point to start the continuum of it. And then from there, what we're really hoping, we're looking into a couple of scholarship opportunities, possibly like investing in the Halo so that there's a continuum of it, of that initial investment of about $14,000 to get in, and that it wouldn't just end with these guys. That's our hope. In the event that it does end with these guys, we are actively looking to have a policy passed at the city level. We're working with the city of Big Bear Lake so that they can sit down and do a policy act that would live in legacy of the work that they've done.
Have you guys presented this information to the high school students like you're doing now?
Not yet with the high school students.
Oh, please do.
Just that's actually, that's a good
Okay.
idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's important.
So this is the culmination of the 3 years?
No, that was the needs assessment that we did in the second year.
Okay, so this isn't done every year?
We have not, this is the first time the Mom and Dad Project has ever done a needs assessment.
Right.
So that was written into the grant, and then we leveraged our funding with Department of Behavioral Health because they were interested in knowing youth's perspective also. So ACT wanted us to take from other surveys that have been done, which you guys know there's not a lot. There's not a lot that's been done.
So how were the people solicited to partake in the questionnaire?
So we created a QR code sent it to these guys and made it into a competition with these guys, the most people they could get to
wow.
take it, somebody won a gift card.
So what?
Who won?
Okay,
What
come
did
on.
you-
Oh my God, the loud girl in the room, walk here.
So what did you guys do to incentivize or to get, you just like asking people, begging people?
People
Were you
just said
paying
yes.
them?
Yeah, people wanted to do it.
So do you think that you got, especially when I think of students, do you think that you got a good representation of the composition of Big Bear when you did it?
I would say
I'd say
so.
so,
Like
yeah.
within the people that even I asked, like just with me, I felt that a wide amount of people were represented.
That's really important. One of the things that I've learned as a teacher and have been on the board for longer than Manny's been alive is a lot of the people who report and do things are from a certain demographic and a certain socioeconomic level, and they're like, well, I want to know what the people who normally don't get a chance to express their voice do. So good for you for reaching out to include everyone. So middle school and high school were the earliest ages. Do you have any information on the average age of the other people who did it?
I
Like,
don't know that there's age.
No, there wasn't age
There wasn't
restriction,
a
it was 18 and
There wasn't.
older,
Yeah.
that was it, yeah.
It had to do, because it was primarily around ACEs, they don't recommend doing ACEs. You have to have a parent to do
Right.
an ACE under 12.
right.
So, or middle school. Elementary was left off on purpose because that requires kind of parents' information.
Right, okay. You had, I'm curious, the ACE scores in rural areas are lower than urban areas.
Higher,
Or pardon me, in rural are higher.
higher.
Do you know why that is?
It's because we don't have as much access to mental health sports. So like all the kids in urban areas have a lot of things that they can do, where the kids in rural areas are kind of spending their time on other things. So they just don't have as much opportunity.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, Kennedy, you said something that I think is important, not just in sports.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
there has to be a way to reach kids, not just through sports.
Yeah, you guys know me, I'm a big sports fanatic, but
Yeah.
I feel like Big Bear kind of focuses on sports, less with performance arts. Like the PAC just got a new fee, so I think that kind of makes us struggle a little bit, including everybody.
Do you want to explain that for people who weren't at the city council meeting?
Yeah, she knows a lot about
You guys
it.
girl do it.
She knows a lot.
So basically the PAC has always had a lower fee for the students at the high school, and they have recently raised that, so now the students that are trying to use the PAC from the high school will no longer have that lower price, which will mean that we most likely will not be able to use that facility.
They just did that?
Yes.
This passed last month.
For nonprofits as well.
Yeah.
And it was across the board that there was a rate increase for anybody using the PAC.
So on that note, can you explain to me, you met with Eric with the city, and you were talking about the potential that there's some kind of a fund that you are soliciting the idea that perhaps they would have some kind of an ACT fund, so to speak. Was there anything solid about that, or just talking about the idea, any dollar amounts?
We haven't yet discussed our ask with them. That meeting was just to get us our foot in the door and kind of build relationships with the city. So that meeting was really just covering, we were asking them questions about what do they do for youth and what.
And what did they say they do for you? Yeah.
They said that they have the Performing Arts Center.
And
Which
then,
they
So they were really struggling to find answers for us whenever we'd ask any questions youth related. They
Isn't
would
that
bring up
cool when you have an
different
important adult
choices.
to nail?
They were scrambling a little bit to find answers, and so then we were asked to present, and now they're asking what our ask is of them. So we have not yet had that formulated conversation.
And for clarity, we did not meet with Eric, we met with Sean Sullivan
Yeah.
and Eric Stevens. And it really was, like Maddie said, in looking for partnership, that's what we're looking for is partnership, to have a conversation with people on what could be done.
Well, I would ask Erica, what are the programs that are offered in Ukaipa where she lives? Because they have significantly more opportunities for her son that we don't have up here.
But also in fairness to the city, They told us no one's ever asked, so we said we're coming for an answer.
Right, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Great point
Just-
too.
I find it hard to believe if you say, hey, we can't afford this, that they
Correct.
wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But you never
It's
know.
a good point, because, you know, we always sit as a cabinet and we're always discussing things and we go over what do we need to do for district, things like that. And a constant question come up, did anybody ask the kids? You know, did anybody ask the kids? In fact, Mr. Williams and I are gonna be at the school on Friday to talk to a certain set of students about a project, one of the programs there, making sure we understand their input, because we're trying to do that. But the question always comes up, we ask our principals and everyone else, did you ask the students? In staff meetings, did we ask the students and get their input? So this is pretty inspiring on the fact that you guys are coming respectfully saying, hey, we have something to say. And
Hey,
that's
on
pretty
his
good.
note of asking the students, these three old guys in December went to a conference and we sat in on students being members of the governing board. And we thought it's a pretty good idea. What do you guys think?
I think that's a great idea.
Discuss who was on my council,
It
you
was
were on.
me.
Yeah, cause you were the one willing to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have discussed how that's one of the things that we're pushing for as, like with our group, is hoping that more youth input can be put into these meetings because they just simply don't know what the youth need. And so I don't think it's like they don't want to help, but they just aren't aware of how.
So Mr. Marquez meets with, how often have you
Yeah.
met? Is it-
You know, we haven't been able to meet this quarter yet, but we're trying to get that going for next quarter, but we were meeting, it was supposed to be a quarterly thing last year, and then these guys wanted to meet every month. I think we met
Good.
every single month with them because they had a lot of input that they wanted to do. There was a lot, and they had a lot of questions, and it's fascinating what questions they have and what's important to them, and what made me go back and reflect, and then the fairness in the room is it's just them and I. Meaning they can be as honest as they wanna be, never is a student name used when something is said in the room, so we can go back to the principals or whoever we need to speak with, teachers, principal, whatever, is to ask, this is what students are looking for. And their insight is inspiring, what their insight is.
So you had mentioned suggestions when you were speaking that, and one was a council of some sort. Can you read your suggestions again?
Mine, it was, continuing to welcome youth input at these board meetings. Dedicating resources to youth, such as safe and inclusive spaces. That's where I brought up not just sports. And then you can also support the creation of a youth council so we can actively be a part of the decision making.
Big Bear's never had a teen center, has it?
Not really, they had that, they tried at the community church and they tried that one for a while, they tried to get the teen center there. I don't know what happened with that, or why that really took off, but no, we have not had something that has stuck solid, no.
And my last comment, thank you very much for coming and in your commitment to student mental health. I once again support a no phones policy at the high school, Mr. Marquez. That was kind of a joke. Kind of.
I would actually like to be in touch with the group before you guys graduate and see how we continue this work with or without the grant. How we do, and we meet with your advisors and see how we continue the work without the grant. The importance of the work and give me more of an idea of the framework and everything, what your ideas would be on how we can continue.
You're gonna give Jessica our
I
I think it'd be great if there were scheduled regular meetings so that it becomes a real thing that does happen and that there's, shared either by them or by you after meeting with them, communication with the board and how we can help.
Luckily, one of the parents here are pretty gifted at figuring out a way to pay for things sometimes. So, it's trying to figure these things out, so that's why I wanna take advantage of you guys while you guys are still here and what your experiences have been and even the challenges of it to know, so we don't reinvent the wheel with the next group.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Wait, you're not gonna stay for the whole meeting?
Homework time.
Hi, Jeff.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you guys, thank you for everything. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Oh, I didn't know you were back there, Ryan.
Thank you,
Ryan.
Thank you for everything.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Next is the hearing section. Sorry, I've got to read my script, so we have 3 public comments so far. We will now open the public comment period of our meeting. The president invites anyone wishing to address the governing board on any item that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the governing board to do so at this time. We value your input and welcome your comments. Please keep the following guidelines in mind during this portion of the meeting. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes to speak. Please note that under the Brown Act, the board cannot take action on items not on the agenda unless specific conditions are met, such as urgent matters or the need for immediate action. Public comments are an opportunity to share your views with the board, not to engage in a debate or a question and answer session. Board members will not respond directly to individual comments during this period, but will carefully consider all input. To maintain a respectful environment, please refrain from using offensive or discriminatory language. Personal attacks against individuals, including board members, staff, or members of the public, are prohibited. Finally, these procedures are not designed to restrict public criticism of policies, procedures, programs, or services of the district. These acts, or the acts or omissions of the governing board. Legal references, Ed Code, 35145 and 72121. All right, does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Bonnie.
Thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to have our voices heard. And I am so excited. I wanted to follow that group because I'm here representing the Breakthrough Task Force, which is a coalition from prevention. And I worked very heavily in drug and alcohol prevention for youth to keep drugs and alcohol out of youth hands. I worked part of the time in Yucca Valley. Yucca Valley had a youth council who worked hand in hand with their city council and passed policies. And we got policies passed because we had youth on board who had their voices and they were heard, and policies were passed because they used all the right ways to do it. So they can be done. That's not what I'm here to talk about. And I get excited. What I'm here to talk about is that we were here a few months ago in April and had some issues with some of the books that were in the library situation, and we presented those to the board, and the board has taken action. Thank you very much for doing that. And I was told, I think by Mr. Walensee, that there's some changes going on in the library system, and we totally appreciate that. We said at the time that you said the biggest problem that you were facing was cell phones and student access on their cell phones, and we, as a Breakthrough Task Force, volunteered to do a handout. I want to tell you it's here already. We did an interview with Chrissy Cox, and we took some of her information and we've adapted this. It's in its first form, and so I have some here if anybody wants to look at them. If not, we'll be going over them and through them. It's English on this side, and the blank side will be Spanish. So we will have it in 2 languages, and it will be a handout that you can readily use. And we'll be using them to encourage more prevention of bad activities and ACES possibly. So it's all about preventing and doing the right thing for our kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
I don't understand what the printout is.
Can we go ahead and pass them out? You can go ahead and pass it out to the board. Yes, please do.
Yeah.
It's directions or it's instructions on how to safeguard your children on their
Oh, this is for the parents.
For parents. Kids for parents. The kids will not take it home, give it to their moms.
These are great.
But if the mom and dad has it, we're doing prevention.
Bonnie, thank you for taking our conversation and moving forward.
Yes. We like to fulfill whatever we want to do. Thank you. And there's some corrections that we've already started to make on this.
All right. Thanks, Bonnie. Next up, Jason Robillard.
Yes.
I went to school with your sister.
I was gonna say, Hello, my name is Jason Robillard. My family moved up here in 1976 when I was in second grade. Excuse me, I have a little scratch in my throat. But so I went to every school up here and graduated. I was the first graduating class out of the new high school that we still have, 86. Raised 4 children, 3 sons, and a 17-year-old daughter that just graduated in 2025. So I have no students in the school, but I do have more time. And so I had just spoke to some friends, and I've known Bonnie for over 40 years, and said, look, I'd like to get more involved. I haven't been to a school board meeting in over 40 years, and unfortunately 40 years ago I was a senior in high school and I was in trouble, and that's why I was at the board. I had to take it for myself.
A little different environment this way.
And then Steve's been around forever. I remember walking the fields with you when I was the high school's lawnmower man and eating Terry plans and principal at that time. I can't even remember his name. And so you've been doing this for a long time, Alex. 25 years probably. Oh, I'm not supposed to ask you that. So I reached out to some people, said I'd like to get more involved in the community, and I was asked to read this book. This is a book that is available in the high school media center. I'm not sure if it's available in the middle school library, but I said sure. So before I comment on the book that's available in the media center, I was handed a article written in the Grizzly in between the last meeting and this meeting. The headline was Books and Morals on the Minds of PBUSP Speakers. So I guess that's me, although I'd like to clarify right from the beginning that to me this isn't an issue of morals. I wouldn't impose my morals on other people that aren't interested in my morals. When I read the book, I looked at it as, I asked a few questions, what's the policy? And they said, well, there is no policy. So what's the standard of how these books get into the media center and how we have a standard or a well-defined policy that we could say, oh, I found this book in the media center and according to your standards, it should not be there. So I read the book, Speak, never heard of Laurie Anderson, but I didn't find the book particularly offensive. It's about an 8th grade girl that goes to a summer party and gets raped by a senior high school boy and calls 911 at the party, but then ends up sneaking out, running away, and she can't share this. She doesn't tell her friends, she becomes an outcast, and she did a good job. It does describe rape on page 134, and then further on in the book there's a sexual assault. Like I said, I'm a 57-year-old man, I didn't find it very offensive. Would I let my 8th grade daughter read it? I would certainly hope she wouldn't find this book without me knowing about it. And so, as I continue to get more involved, I'd like to start showing up more and just doing more things, community active. I just feel was that my timer?
It was, yes.
I just feel like it should be something that's on the agenda, something that, that's discussed. It's not about my morals versus your morals. It's about what's the standards of this school board and what's your position on it so that we can, vote for people that have our morals. That's where we vote. That's where it's an issue, is in the voting, not so much here. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Robin Kemner.
That is a hard act to follow all those kids.
Yeah, it is.
It's really encouraging. So I've been here and I spoke before and I'm speaking on the same thing, and I've been here in support of Jason and what he said, and I appreciate his effort and I agree with what he was saying. I also want to say that I found his report on that book to be really comforting and encouraging, that he didn't come forward before the board and give a scathing report on this like I had to unfortunately do with the last book that I brought before you guys. So I'm glad to see that everything isn't like a horrible situation, that there's like there's both good and bad on the scale, not necessarily good, but you know, there's a range of different levels of concern. And I just want to reiterate with him, again, that I would like this to be on the agenda, because that way we can, you know, there can be some discourse. I realize that we're bound by certain rules that I respect. And so, like he was saying, I believe that there should be distinct regulations surrounding the access to this type of material, I guess, standard to be set, and so that maybe we can discuss this and really put that into a framework, so it's not so, I know you already have like a quarantined area, but really to specify that and set out standards written out to be followed, so that's all I want to say. I thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
The consent calendar, before there's a motion, we have to remove item J. Oh no, not J.
Yeah, it's J.
This one says transportation agreement with Redlands. I thought it was something else.
No, J.
J is
Oh. I'm sorry,
Purchase
purchase order.
above.
Okay. Sorry, so removing item J. Can I get a motion to approve?
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the item that was removed, there was an issue with it, so Jess is gonna bring that back to the next meeting. Now it's your turn, Manny, employee announcements.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we have 2 employee announcements. I do not believe we have those employees here, but we still want to acknowledge them. In the BBMS cafeteria for Big Bear Middle School, we have Amy Rose. Amy has been a valued member with Child Nutrition since 2004, so to move up for her, we are delighted that she is continuing her career at BBUSD at Big Bear Middle School. And for Baldwin Lane Elementary School, we have a new TKA, Chelsea Womack. Chelsea, a proud alumni of Big Bear High School, Chelsea is deeply rooted in the district with children attending our schools. She has dedicated many hours to volunteering at Baldwin Lane, and we are thrilled to welcome her to as our permanent staff here. So,
Good hires.
good hires. Yes, ma'am.
All right, you get to continue.
I get to continue. Okay. So most recently, one of the most recent, last night we had our family fun night. We had over 500 participants. It was full. We had it at Big Bear Middle School last year, but it just logistically was challenging because of all the families that showed up. We had it last night at Big Bear High School, and it was huge. It was so many, there was vendors there, there was different community members, there was face painting with Rotary. That was a big hit for the kids, but but what was really nice is also Rita provided food. Last year we did pizza. We're gonna do the same, but Rita, of course, Rita steps it up all the time. And Rita Espedo and her team put together a really nice, great meal, you know, with a pasta with chicken and salad. Just wanted to give a shout out to her for what she did, but really a shout out to Leanne and her entire team of Shonda and Christy and everyone that really worked hard on this in conjunction with partnership with BBMR, Big Bear Mountain Resorts, who donated $30,000 worth of items for students, and jackets and socks and all these different items, and they did a little different. They learned from last year a couple different things they did differently, but a lot of volunteers last night from Big Bear Mountain Resorts as well. It was a really fun event. I was there for most of the night. It was really well received. Parents were having a good time. They walked away like they went shopping somewhere. So it was a lot of fun, and just hats off to them. Just a huge, great event. Thank you, Leanne, and your team for all your hard work with that. College week we got to go today. Was, you know, she mentioned, our student representative mentions college week, but I got to go out there today to be a part of it and watch her college fair. And the speakers and through the assembly, you know, they had they were all previous students, but you know, Dr. Delancher was there, and then George Zamorano was there, and I really appreciated the fact that they took different walks of life of people, you know, depending on what they were doing and where they were at in their life, and had great, honest questions for them, for the students. And how they answered the students was very honest. It was really a great forum that they did there with the vendors and everyone that was out there. The participation was huge. And I want to once again a shout out to the Abbott team, and that would be between Mary Bradford and Jeremy Little for putting this together. Really fun to be a part of. The kids really enjoyed it. As I was walking out, one of my students that I've known for a long time, really bright kid, he tells me, I'm talking to him on the way out, and this is the best part of the moment of it. And he goes, you know, Mr. Marquez, I was really thinking, I just, you know, when I leave, I just want to do online work, just want to stay at home and work from home. And he says all this stuff in his hands, all these pamphlets, and he says, I'm inspired to do something different. And that's the point. That's the whole point of these things. And it was so great to hear because he's probably one of the smartest kids we have. And he's just amazing who needs to work to his potential. And it was exciting to see. I have yet to see that young man that excited about something. So that was exciting. If that's all we got out of today, and I'm sure we got a heck of a lot more than that out of what they accomplished today, that's a big deal, just that. So it was pretty impressive. ELAC meeting, we had our first, sorry, not ELAC, DLAC meeting last week. We had our first one. We have to have one every quarter. And Dr. Crow is now in charge of our overall EL program. And great showing. It was a great showing. I got to go speak to the parents for a while, of course with the translator. My Spanish is terrible, but Dr. translated for me, got to speak with them. They had some good questions for me. It was open forum as far as any questions they had for me. But Dr. Crow went over a lot of information for them and then how it's going to look in the future. The parents were really receptive. Once again, we fed them that evening, trying to provide these family engagement nights, not just the family fun night, but things like this where we're getting the families there and getting their input, getting things that they want from their schools and what they want to see from their schools. So that was exciting as well. But I could go on and on, but it was just wanted to make sure I mentioned those 3 items.
Great turnout is how many parents?
Great. Okay, it's great. I believe she finally said there was about 50 families there, which is really strong. It's great.
How did the logistics go at the high school?
The setting was much better. It was less crowded. We still were able to serve over 600 people who showed up, and it did not feel like there were 600 people. There was enough space to spread out. And after the first event, we needed to improve our systems since we didn't realize we would have that many people turning out.
Was every jacket given out?
Any jackets left over are now being distributed to sites. Cool. So nothing will be left over, and I do want to include Care for Big Bear.
Yes, Care for Big Bear.
It's BBMR and Care for Big Bear that made the donation of the jackets, beanies, socks, gloves.
And the cafeteria was full.
The cafeteria was full, people eating the whole time. There were lots of kids. We had a lot, because we changed the way parents got in, were queued to get jackets. There were far more kids and families participating in the activities.
That's great.
So that was an improvement, and we just saw a lot more engagement that way, because the point of them showing up was having activities that parents and kids could engage with in together.
And we do want to thank Big Bear High School for making the accommodation.
Yes.
Trying to get an event at Big Bear High School is really challenging.
With sports and
we always joke about the fact that place is like Vegas. Something's happening there every single minute, all day long, all the time. So for them to find a day in there, we really appreciate everyone working with us with Big Bear High School as well for this event to happen.
All right, governing board member reports. Mr. Zamorda?
Oh, I got to go to the airport last week with the San Bernardino Valley College class up at the high school. They went and visited Bob Hartunian?
Bob Hartunian,
yeah. His hangar where he's building airplanes, and they got to rivet and he explained the plane.
Oh, nice.
Super cool to see the kids at the airport, not just studying in the class about drag, lift, all that stuff. And in the classrooms they have the flight simulators as well, but then to be at the airport and actually see a plane being built and someone who's building it explaining things, it was really great. Everyone was super engaged and got to do riveting, and it was a real fun day.
And we're really excited that Kamora stepped up and got that program going for us.
Yes, she deserves a lot of kudos because she had to take the CTE curriculum.
Yes, she did.
And the college curriculum and kind of make it work. So yeah, it's neat to see kids getting college classes. And the neat thing too was, it wasn't just about flying. I mean, you're talking about all the different jobs here: air traffic control, building planes, aircraft mechanics, which is actually one of the classes down at Victorville where they're actually hands-on doing those kind of things. So, and kudos too to the Pilots Association who reached out and paid for 2 of the students voluntarily to go to ground school, because they were so interested in aviation last year that they actually studied with Cam over the summer. So they paid for 2 of the students to go to ground school over there at the airport. So it's great that not only they have that exposure, they're getting college credit by taking the class at the high school, along with high school credit as well. But then some of them are being so interested that now they're voluntarily taking ground school. So really cool.
Very cool. Nice.
Ms. Smart, do you have anything?
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone knows, and for those out there watching, Manny has been working with Crafton Hills College to switch our affiliation from San Bernardino Valley College to Crafton Hills College, which I think is good news. I've got a kid going down there now. I drive him down a couple of days a week. And it's a beautiful campus, and my other kids, one that she was heading off to Fullerton right before she left, took a chemistry class there. It's the safer place to go for our kids than going into San Bernardino. Although San Bernardino Valley College, it's a nice big campus. But I think it's exciting what they have to offer, and it's gonna be really nice. And when I actually get an email from Brian, it'll be great to see. He showed me that he sent it, but it didn't come.
Okay, good, you showed him, good,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. I saw, I watched him send it. So I think that's an exciting partnership as well.
Yeah, and it's cool because the president of the college has an affection for Big Bear, is up here mountain biking and snow skiing or boarding during the winter, and has a real interest in our community, so.
He does, he has a vested interest.
That's great.
Brian's been meeting with them and talking to them and making sure we're working out the details, and even already it's gone smoother, just getting the response in there, and how they're responding to us has been great.
The course offerings are the same, more or less?
Course offerings are the same, yes, where they're able to transfer there was one class that you just mentioned, the only thing Crafton Hills was the aviation class.
Oh, interesting.
So we have to keep the aviation class through
With
San
San
Bernardino Valley, so we're gonna keep the class, but it still stays through San Bernardino Valley, that's all, it's the only one.
And there's gonna be different CTE opportunities maybe in the future they have medical fields that they have courses in. And I'm excited that we could offer something like that because it offers a greater opportunity for our kids to get into careers that are higher earning than some others that are on. So, that's great news, and thanks for pursuing that, Manny and Brian. All right.
Is that different than item 17B?
Hold on, tell me.
17B
That's
is
the,
the agreement.
is
It's
the
the
agreement.
agreement.
That was the pre-game show, right?
Yes. All right, item 15, Proposition 28, Arts and Music Schools report.
So this is just literally just an expenditure report just showing what we spent in the 24-25 fiscal year. This is a requirement of that funding that we report this out every year, and it's approved by our governing board.
Can I get a roll?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Administrative reports, 26-27, BVUSD calendar approval. All right, let's talk.
Sure.
So, getting rid of 1 week in Christmas break and not impacting fall break at all.
No. It's a negotiated item with the union where we go back and forth with both unions. It is as per California law, it is a negotiated item. That when we've double checked that over and over, that it is something we must negotiate with them when we come to these terms. And I'll tell you if there's anything that none of us enjoy doing every year is calendar negotiations. Anybody that's been in teaching or been in these meetings, it's always a challenge. It's always a 50-50 split of where we want to be, trying to get something passed and trying to get something through. And this is where the negotiating, ending up trying to give a little bit somewhere. And this is where we're at now. We look at this once again, and we try something, and then we go back to the table. We're actually already gonna have to start planning for talks and try to do the talks earlier for the 27-28 school year. It's never perfect, and like I said, everybody has an opinion on this, and I understand it, and almost every argument can be made as far as do we keep the October break, do we take October break down to 1 week? And it gets into a very hard area sometimes. Yeah, we all may have opinions about it, but ultimately we gotta get something passed, because it has to be passed through the union. Not just a negotiating item with the two negotiating teams, but also all of their memberships have to vote on it. So it has to get past those items and then come to the board. And then it's a lot of work just to get to that point, Mr. Robertson. Is it perfect? No. I'll be the first one to tell you. It's because of the fact is we're never gonna make everybody happy on these things. Everybody always has an opinion as far as what's gonna work better or what, and we're really trying to focus it more on trying to keep the focus on what is gonna be best for students. And I know the argument can be made that do we need the October break because of August and things like that, because it's hot in August, and chip off the beginning of August to get us out of the heat a little bit. There's a lot of arguments can be made. Right now, we took the 1 week off of, though it was agreed upon, that's where we came up with taking 3 weeks, and 3 weeks is a long time to be out of school. That's why we were able to bargain out that one to end the year a little bit sooner, as far as getting the kids as prime learning time. End of year, when after testing, it tends to dwindle on the sites a little bit. Kids kind of check out right after testing, so that's why we wanted to take it off the end of the year and try to get some prime learning time in the middle of winter. And that's where we bargained out of that with the two negotiating units. Yes, we will have another conversation once we start again, and have other conversations as far as what, and obviously with board input, where the board would like to see us go as well in the future, when we go back to the table, which is probably soon.
Can you be more specific as to the pros and cons of this calendar and the changes from both sides? So what was the who advocated for making that change of taking a week of the winter and ending the year? Was that the districts?
District advocated for taking the winter because of student.
So you don't have that dead time after
so
the testing in the end of school.
Trying to get the end of the year, trying to get that time back at the end of the year, shortening the year a little bit, so for a few reasons. One, prime learning time is then. Not only that, it's in the winter. I mean, it's not at the end of the year. It's right there at that time when we're getting back. 3 weeks is a long time to get out of school. And truth be told, 3 weeks is, that last week after Christmas, and I understand the arguments against it. Some people use it for vacation, all these other things. 70% of our population in Bear Valley, as far as our kids, are low socioeconomic. I think it's like 69, 70%.
They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. So, a lot of these families aren't going anywhere, and they need their kids back in school. Even when I did talk to my parent groups, the parent groups I did talk to, which was my council as far as the superintendent's council, I did talk to the DLAC parents about it. Overall, I didn't have 95% of the parents at least that we did talk to were pretty supportive of that. Because once you go through all the reasonings on why, they were pretty supportive, and one of them was, it's like, people need to get back to work. Most people are back to work after the holidays, after the, it takes some time, and then after the first of the year, they're back to work.
So what's the argument against? What was the pushback?
Culture in Big Bear, to be honest. Culture in Big Bear has an impact as far as this is. Some of it is Big Bear culture. This is what we've done for a very long time. There's also the risk of, if it snows a lot, if it's why we had it in the past, we all know that we haven't seen snow that much.
Yeah, we had a record year 2 years ago.
Well, no, I'm saying during that time,
15 years, 20
it
years.
tends to come in January and February for us. Now, we'd love it to come in that time because that's when we get more tourists, we make more money for the community. But that's not where we've been lately. But that's also the snow and the buses getting around and those things, those are the arguments against it. We're gonna really look at it now as far as that third week, what it looks like now, and if it doesn't work when we do it, because the calendar, if the board approves it, if the calendar goes through for 26, 27, we monitor it, and that's why we negotiate it again. For some reason, something doesn't work, we negotiate it again.
Did we have parents on the committee this year?
No, parents are not part of the negotiating team.
Okay. So everyone voted for this?
Oh, that's a strong statement. Everyone,
They voted.
They voted, and it's always hard to get everybody, it's always get to everybody to vote.
Everyone got to speak their mind.
If they had an opportunity, to make comments, they had an opportunity to vote yes or no on it. It did pass.
And how many
I
voting
will
members
tell you by a narrow margin.
I don't want to know who, but how many voting members were they, who do they represent?
I say it was probably more of the certificated staff more than classified staff. And when I went out to.
Were for it or against it?
It's a 50, it was.
Okay, so it's
it was tight, it's just what, it was tight as far as where we were at in the voting. It passed, but it was tight.
Right. So were there 3 classified representatives? 3?
There was actually, when we were on the negotiating.
Yeah.
On the negotiating team, there's actually probably more classified in the room, wouldn't you say?
Right.
But
it goes to vote to the employees.
But it goes to vote to the employees.
Okay.
So you kind of hash it out between the team, between our team here and the district office, then the 2 negotiating units.
Okay.
We just kind of hash it out in here for hours until we come up with something we can all live with.
So was it on the table to reduce or eliminate fall break?
That's always on the table up for discussion, to have that discussion, and it was just, we kind of came to an impasse at that point. And until, and I made this clear to all of the unit members, when I went, because I spoke to everyone, when we had that 15 feedback, I spoke to classified staff, I spoke to certificate staff, elementary, and because of the way they were split up, elementary and secondary, two separate, I went out and told them everything, this is what we got. And then, because there might be other changes for next year, but I also went to each classified staff, I had a meeting at every site to discuss this exact thing, because I explained to them, not enough if you fill out the survey. I need to look at you and know if you support this or not. So we still seem supportive, as we had the conversations, lots of questions still came up, still supportive of it. I talked to each classified, then I went to talk to M&O department, because they couldn't be there, then I went to transportation department, because they couldn't be there at those meetings. We wanted to make sure we talk to everybody when we make these kind of decisions that are overall impacting, and here's why too, every single one of these people have families as well. Families that they're not just employees, they're also, their kids are in this district. So how does it impact you? I wanted to know everything. Overall, it was still a supportive environment.
So ideally, you mentioned the fall break, so ideally what would you take? What, the entire fall break, or 1 week of the fall break if it were to happen?
It would be tough to take the entire fall break. That would be tough to negotiate
I'm
to
just
get,
wondering,
to get that passed.
What's the goal of that?
It's weird to have it, it's uncommon.
Some of it comes down to some of the argument on the union side of it, and the union side is it does give that break after every quarter. It gives a break. Everybody out of a quarter, and I've been a teacher for a long time too. And every quarter, you do feel like you need a breather for me. You need to step back. I can see advocating for a week. That's just a personal opinion of mine. Okay, I could also argue that why it shouldn't be there, but we've got to be respectful of everyone's opinions on the other side of the table.
So why shouldn't it be there? So where would those 2 weeks go? And why is it advantageous to get rid of it? I'm not for it or against it.
And like I said, this could go back and forth. I can argue both sides of this.
Yeah, I'm just curious why you
Here's
get rid
where
of
a
it.
couple things we could look at that can argue of where it should go.
Right.
Let's say we take, Mr. Roberts said we take both weeks away. Should it be at the beginning of the year when it's hot, when we're really having issues with the classroom? So we have 2 less weeks of strong heat.
Right.
We all know August is the hottest month. Do we take it up there? Or do we take 1 week there and then 1 week at the end of the year, so we get out on late before Memorial Day? On Memorial Day weekend, it gets us out, gives us a longer summer as far as the being able to get more maintenance done and get more maintenance operation projects done, different concepts. Kids actually that go to summer school still get a break, because summer school kids only get a little bit of a break, very tiny, by the time they're done at the high school. So to give them more of a break, there's a few arguments that can be made here on where, if October break went away, and some of it has to be respectful to what is respectful to the community, to this, a lot of parents, in talking to the parents, they really do have an appreciation for the at least a week. And I talked to the parents, a lot of said, at least a week would still be good. Because that's what it is when because notoriously with us, a lot of families, and I know I felt the same, and you guys have had kids here too, people like the October break once again, because it becomes when you can finally do something with your families, things aren't crowded, it's not summer, it's still nice weather.
But 70%
Yes,
can't
sir.
afford it.
That's the opposite argument. Like I said, we can go back and forth all day on this as far as what's the pros and cons of these. And no matter what, we end up in these calendar negotiations, and they always pass it. It's I don't think I've ever seen it, that something passed by a wide margin.
Yeah.
But from a parent's perspective with students, our schedule screws things up for opportunities outside of the district. So for instance, at the end of the 23-24 school year, Jory and Jesse took chemistry at Crafton. Our school went so late, they had to miss the last week of school at the high school because they had to start their class in person. So our schedule going so late screwed that up. But then you have kids, whether in strings or the same 2 kids took a Korean class at UCLA, but online. They couldn't finish the 3rd class because school started August 1st. Whereas if it would have pushed out 2 more weeks, then kids could finish.
And we had this. I had a parent make the same argument at the beginning of August, which is there's still a lot of my kid wanted to go to some kind of special. It was more with their culture. I think it was a special camp. and she couldn't send the child to that camp because it
Because it was
was
in
so
August.
early, because it's in August. We couldn't send them. I know there's a parent here that sends her kid into the special camp that's to them, and she misses the first few days of school because of it. Like I said, it's an argument that could go on and on as far as the two different issues and how do we balance this?
Okay, a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
How does the voting actually work with the employees? Do you have to have a quorum of the employees voting, or is there a
Survey, no,
minimum
it just goes out to survey, we take the majority, whatever the majority is.
Okay, so
Usually we
10% of our employees could decide.
Yes, so normally we get at least a third.
Sounds
of the
like a
vote.
national election.
Yes, we get it,
Oh, what?
I believe the last
It
one,
was like 25%.
I think we had we did have over a third of the staff vote.
That's right.
Okay, it's like 27% of registered voters.
Okay, so, and then it's just a majority of whoever.
The majority, we just go up the flat majority.
I hear a lot of the arguments, and some of them seem to be fairly specific, right?
Yes.
I wanna go to a summer school, or I wanna
Yes.
I want a college class starts early, or don't run late, or whatever. The heat affects everybody.
Yes, it does.
This is just me, I'm only one board member, but starting August 1st is difficult, okay? If we can do something to push that back, okay, even if we have to go a little further into June, okay, I think it would be better for the kids. It'd be better for the staff too.
And we are one of the only schools that I believe, because I know most of, even, well, they have every issue out there, but most of the desert schools, I know they go, I know RIM, the desert schools, they are starting either the first or second week of August. A lot of them start using the second week is very
Like I said, I'm
common,
only one board member, but I think that would be the most beneficial for our students.
and that's, when you're talking about who's impacted the most, everyone's impacted by the heat. That's a fair argument.
I'll make the motion
To approve?
to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I appreciate the input though, I really do.
Thanks for the information and the direction of things.
Alright, item B, first reading and adoption of governing board policy update.
So moved.
I'll second it, but I want to comment before you vote. One of them is the Brown Act. Why do we adopt a policy that basically restates the Brown Act?
Good law.
Okay, we're required to do this? This is a new policy to us.
These are recommendations from CSBA.
CSBA, yeah.
So it's not necessarily a requirement, but it's their recommendation.
It's just, it creates the issue, I'm gonna vote for it, but it's just, I read it and it bugged me.
There's so many redundancies in this stuff.
Well, and then you run the risk of our policy gets out of date with the Brown Act, and then we have to make sure that we update it so that we're not in conflict with the
Then why are we even doing that?
That's, I guess,
Why don't we just pull that?
Why?
Is it
Well, I
nothing
mean,
wrong with pulling it?
Why do it?
Because it was recommended by the
We
attorneys
go off the
for California
recommendations,
School Board
but-
Association, who are the people who are gonna have to talk to attorneys to cover our you-know-whats.
yeah, it's.
That's what the policies are for, is to establish rules. The second we go to, if someone makes a Brown Act violation and we don't have a policy that we're following that was recommended to us,
That's right.
I rest my case. We lose.
Well, we're gonna lose anyway.
What's
That's the Brown Act, you have to follow
If
the
you
Brown
violate
Act
the Brown Act,
regardless.
you have to, you broke the law.
You know why you didn't
The
follow it?
biggest thing
Because
that-
you didn't have a policy. You know why you didn't follow it? Because you didn't have a policy.
You're all riled up from the closed session.
I don't have to follow the law unless we have a policy. Wait a minute. Okay, I mean, I understand CSBA recommends we do it, but this is how, if, we need to be very careful with things like this, that we make sure we update them. Because if we're following the wrong policy, then we're still in trouble, even if we adopt, whatever. I seconded it, I'm ready to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm a nay.
He's so liable right now.
Item 17, universal pre-K. Get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, next, that I apparently jumped the gun on, is, adoption of the college and career access pathways dual enrollment partnership agreement with Kraken Hills.
I think you should make the motion, Jack.
I make the motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for doing that, Brian and
Yeah.
Amy.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
18, certificated public hearing, public comment, for variable term waiver for the 25-26 school year. There's no public comment on that. Variable term waiver for the 25-26 school year. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
DVEA sunshine articles. So,
Well, there should be a public comment first and then.
This is an information item.
This is information item.
Yeah, so for both
Public
the
comment.
classified and the certificated,
yeah,
we put the sunshine articles on a board agenda for information, and then next board meeting we'll have a public comment,
That's
public
what it
hearing and public comment and a vote to officially adopt.
That's fair.
alright, then we'll go to item 19, classified, it's the same thing, sunshine articles for CSEA and Bear Valley Unified School District sunshine articles, so the management sunshine. Do we have suggestions from the board or superintendent for future board meeting?
We've had people come to our board meetings a lot about books and libraries.
Yeah, they do, that's a good
Okay,
thing.
and we've taken some action. Would it be appropriate to put on something on the agenda, have the staff make a presentation as to what they've done and why they've done it?
It would be as if, if we're putting policy in place, if we're putting even in general, even if we're putting guidelines in place, and I know that's something we're looking at with Brian, and Brian's looking at with some of the library clerks as far as a guideline is what we're looking at. That we can present, because we don't necessarily have to have an adopted policy in place in something like this. However, we can discuss the guidelines, and there are things that are looked at. There is, a rationale of how they choose books. As far as what we write out and present that before the board, if we'd like to do something like that, I think that's, and we can discuss the guidelines. It's a matter of the personal opinions of the board. I think it's some of what was been requested too. I don't know if that's something the board
If
would
they
like to
could
do.
present the guidelines,
Who?
the people that are.
The library clerks?
Uh-huh.
We could have them here if we wanted them here for a discussion. We could have them here if that's something the board would want. I don't think that's a problem. And then it would just just making sure whatever direct it's on, it gives Brian and Leanne and I enough time to come up with what our guidelines are, that we have an opportunity to discuss that with the library clerks and honestly the principals too. They need an input on this, and what we're putting in our libraries. I think if that's something the board would like us to do not have a problem. Brian, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And then
I'm not saying there's any rush to do this.
No.
I mean,
No rush.
But at some point.
Yeah.
I will discuss with the board members and with Mr. Roberts, president, with the clerk, and see when it would be appropriate time to put that on the agenda.
Because it is coming up.
Absolutely. If that's something we feel like the
What's coming up?
No, as far as the topic.
The people are.
Oh, it's coming up, I think said something was coming.
As far as the guidelines of what's that look like, sure.
Every meeting we've had.
Okay. Then we move forward. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? We're gonna adjourn the open session at 6:58.